Very good evening to all of you. So today we have gathered again for the next part of the Organon. So till now we have been discussing from past few weeks the aphorisms on the proving, how the proving has to be done. What are the requisites of the materials which we use? What are the requisites of the experiment? How it should be performed? What are the steps of the experiments? And then how a prover should be. Last time we completed aphorism 141, where Dr. Hahnemann says that the physician himself is the best prover because he himself knows what information, what kind of sensation he's exactly feeling, and he can note it down in a more accurate way. So now we will move on to 142. There are few more aphorisms regarding to the provings. But after few aphorisms, we will then switch on to the analysis part. The part where we start understanding that why, after we have gained the knowledge of the disease in the case taking, after we have gained the knowledge of the power of the medicines, how we have to adapt these two knowledges, how we have to conjoin these two knowledges. So that will be the next part to understand. So we'll start with aphorism 142. So aphorism 142. But how some symptoms of the simple medicine employed for a curative purpose can be distinguished among these symptoms of the original malady. Even in diseases, especially in those of a chronic character that usually remain unaltered, is a subject appertaining to the higher art of judgment and must be left exclusively to masters in observation. So one thing which Dr. Hahnemann has advocated while doing these experiments of provings, that the prover should be in a healthy state of body, healthy state of mind and body. There should be health, so that we don't get confused in what are the disease symptoms and what are the symptoms of the medicines. So the basic requisite for a prover is that he should be in the healthy state of mind and body. But now in this aphorism, Dr. Hahnemann says that if someone is a master of observation, they should not be used. This method should not be used. But how some symptoms of the simple medicine, when the medicine is given for a curative purpose, employed for a curative purpose, a person is suffering from a disease and we give a medicine to that person to cure that disease. How some symptoms of the simple medicine employed for a curative purpose can be distinguished amongst the symptoms of the original malady. So when this medicine is given, if the patient is an oversensitive patient, then in the primary action of the medicine, some symptoms of the medicine are also shown, which are new to the patient or which might have happened long back ago. But some symptoms are developed in the patients also. Like for example, I can remember this case few months back. This patient came and I prescribed her Natrum. So after Natrum, she told me that I never had headache in my life. But see, she suddenly started having this sun headache. Saying that whenever I am in the sunlight is there, strong sunlight, even if I'm not in the sun, it is just the sunlight, the head starts paining. But that symptom remained for 4 or 5 days and then it disappeared. Because it was the symptom of the medicine and it came in the primary action. So he said that even when the medicine is given for a curative purpose, there are some symptoms which basically belong to the medicine. They start coming along with the original symptoms of the disease. Even in diseases, especially in those of a chronic character, that usually remain unaltered. Because the primary action is going on, so the original symptoms of the disease, they remain unaltered. There is no alteration in them. There might be slight aggravation or something like this, but otherwise the chronic character, it does not change, is a subject appertaining to the higher art of judgment. So when you go into you know about these things, you start studying about these things, that why this symptom come, you go more deeper into it, the judgment, it becomes more higher. The you start knowing that, okay, these are the disease symptoms of the original malady, and these are some symptoms which have come with the medicine. So he said that even this is a way how you can study some medicine, but it should not be used in a common way. Okay. So, but these kind of things come, and this also gives you an insight that yes, this medicine has these kind of symptoms. So this is a higher art of judgment and must be left exclusively to masters in the observation, who have become a person. When he has become a master in the observation, he can know this difference more clearly. But this also shows that these this medicine has the power to produce these symptoms, and hence the power to cure it also. So footnote to aphorism 142: symptoms which during the whole course of the disease might have been observed only a long time previously or never before, consequently new ones belonging to the medicine. So the symptoms which are completely new one, never seen before, or very very long time ago there was some symptom which was seen, but it has not come from a long time. So Dr. Hahnemann is saying that those symptoms, when we have given the medicine for curative purpose, if these symptoms come up, then they basically belong to the medicine. Usually these kind of symptoms, when they come, they go disappear after some time. They don't become involved with the chronic ones. So they will come and they will go after some days. In few days or in few hours, those symptoms will go away. So aphorism 143: if we have thus tested on the healthy individual a considerable number of simple medicines and carefully and faithfully registered all the disease elements and symptoms they are capable of developing as artificial disease producers, then only have we a true materia medica. So there is only way to have a true materia medica, and that is when we have tested these medicines on many individuals. We have carefully and faithfully registered all the disease elements and the symptoms of these medicines, what kind of disease or what kind of symptoms these medicines have the power to produce and thus to cure. Then only we have a true materia medica. This is the only way to have a truthful materia medica, through provings, whatever has come through provings. Because there is only one way to know about the power of disease, and that is to give it to a healthy patient, person, and see what kind of symptoms it produces. So with this part, with this thing, we can also understand all those materia medicas which are floating all around, which do not come from the experience, what kind of materia medicas they are. So a collection of real, pure, reliable modes of action of simple medicinal substances, a volume of the book of nature, wherein is recorded a considerable array of the peculiar changes of the health and symptoms ascertained to belong to each of the powerful medicines, as they were revealed to the attention of the observer, in which the likeness of the homeopathic disease elements of many natural diseases to be hereafter cured by them are present. So this materia medica, this kind of materia medica, which has come from the proving, it contains all those symptoms and all those things, all the parts of the disease which these medicines have the power to cure because of their likeness with the disease elements, homeopathic. Cured by them are present, which in a word contain artificial morbid states that furnish for the similar natural morbid states the only true homeopathic, that is to say, specific therapeutic instruments for effecting their certain and permanent cure. So only by understanding these provings, only by understanding this materia medica, we can come to this part that, okay, how or what kind of what kind of power a particular medicine contains, because that power is a therapeutic power which will cure the disease also. So we basically see two types of materia medicas. The one is the provings. Okay, that is the pure one. The way it happened, it is written in the provings. The pure materia medica is there. Then there are the materia medicas. Second number of the materia medicas are the clinical materia medicas. Very good example of that materia medica is Dr. Kent's materia medica. Although he did not wrote it, they were the lectures. The students, they compiled those lectures and materia medica was formed. But in his lectures, in Dr. Kent's lectures, he basically told about the provings and the clinical picture of those provings. Okay? The clinical picture of the symptoms, the clinical picture of the aggravations, the amelioration. He has given drug pictures, that one paragraph of a drug picture, that this is seen in the patients. How this proving or how this symptom is basically clinically represented. So he has given those representations in his materia medica. Then there is a third category of materia medica, which is more, you can say, fictional, because it does not come from provings. Obviously, it does not come from the clinical experience. On the contrary, there is very less experience which is attached to it. There is very less, you can say, that a thought is given, or there is this truthfulness in the person who is writing it. Although it is said that, okay, I have seen like this, but many of the things are conjectural and speculation. So that kind of materia medica is also there. So we have to be very, why I'm telling you this is that, last time also we talked about this thing, that we have to tell that there is something wrong also going on, to know. At the end, we individually have to decide what we have to do. But then we have to be wary also that, okay, what kind of materia medica Dr. Hahnemann has said in the Organon is basically the true and right materia medica. I always say that, okay, you can start with Dr. Kent, but you should have this mind that, okay, I will go to the provings and I will read the provings, how they are. I will try to understand them. This should be in the mind of a homeopath somewhere. Okay? But yes, Dr. Kent's, or there are some other clinical materia medicas also which are good, but they are the experiences. They are the experience. Like sometimes we talk about a case, we talk about some symptoms and the representation of that symptom, how the in the patient it was represented, and other ways how it can be represented. So that becomes a more of a clinical materia medica or a practical materia medica which is based on the provings. The other is completely different. It is not based on the provings. It does not contain any of these elements. It is more of an attractive materia medica which attracts the reader, which gulps the leader. And more, when you use those things and give this medicine to the person as a homeopath, you will come to this knowledge that the medicine is not working. It is not working. Recently I had a meeting with one of my friend, and he used to read this kind of materia medica. He used to follow someone who had this who would this give lectures on the how to interpret the delusions. Now delusion is a delusion. When it happens, it happens. It is a very simple thing. uh, Dr. Kent has given a very good example of the delusion in the drug picture of stramonium, that what is a delusion. He has very beautifully wrote it there. So but then he said to me that I have practiced for 2 years on this thing and I am not getting any results, so I have switched back to the original writings, and now I have started getting results. So even the thing is that when you are using such materia medicas which are not true, which are conjectural, which are speculations, which are theoret, there is some theory behind it, but they don't. So those materia medicas don't stand the test of the time. Somewhere you will, on the way, you will start feeling that, okay, it is not making any sense. So Dr. Hahnemann here warns about that thing, that the true materia medica should be like this. This is the true materia medica. This is how we have to know. And he has given a footnote also to assure on this thing. Literally, it has been the habit to entrust the proving of medicines to unknown persons at a distance, because even at his time, the people, they have started doing some provings in a way which were not given, or not according to the Organon. So the people, they started giving medicine, they would send the medicine to a person at distance, and who were paid for their work. So a person was paid, he was given money to prove a medicine. So now, when the problem is, when you give someone a money, you expect a result also, and that person also knows that I have to give the result. So if he's not getting proper symptoms, there's a chance that he will make some symptoms. Okay, I felt this, or I felt that, and felt that, and the information so obtained was printed. So the information which was uh, given in a way, it was printed. But by so doing, the work which is of all authors the most important, which is to form the basis of the only true healing art, and which demands the greatest moral certainty and trustworthiness, seems to me, I regret to say, become doubtful and uncertain in its results, and to lose all value. So Dr. Hahnemann is saying that, if when we are speaking about it, that this is a true healing art, so everything about it should be related with the truth, because without truth we cannot. It is a moral obligation. When we are telling to the world something, it is a moral obligation that it should test my experience. It should be so true to my experience that, that it becomes true to everyone's experience. I can this remember conversation with Dr. Jonkul on the last visit when I went to Thailand. So we were talking about something. There were these camp patients in the camp who were getting better. So we were talking about those patients. So there is a beautiful thing which Dr. Jonkul, she told me, that you used to come earlier also. You used to show us some cases. You used to tell about the medicine. You used to tell the way how to give the medicine. But because the cases were on the camera, they were recorded. They were okay. The results were there, and this thing was there. But in the mind, there was okay. Maybe homeopathy can do that thing. Maybe, but there was always a maybe, because that maybe can never go until you have a true experience about it. The things happen in front of you, the things, when you are doing something and then it is happening, then only the our this I was uh, talking about this, our brain, how the brain processes the information. This whatever I'm speaking, it comes as an idea to the cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex, the work of the cerebral cortex is to take the thoughts, to take the ideas and process it. It can process into right and wrong, it can process into good or bad, whatever it is, but it does not go into our unconscious or subconscious, where the experiences are basically stored. It does not go into that cerebellum part until and unless our limbic system, the emotional brain, gets attached to it. So whenever you are having a real experience, why it goes into, why we call it experience, because there was a thought, an idea, and then an emotion was attached to it. When you see those patients getting better in front of you, one is, I am showing something from my clinic which I have seen some other camp. Then we are seeing the things happening in front of us which we are part of. Then those emotions, they basically get attached to those ideas, to those thoughts, that okay, homeopathy can work like this, can help people like this, can help sensory neural deficiency where the person is not hearing, can help a Down syndrome child, can help a cerebral palsy child. So when these things get attached, then it goes into experience, and then you are ready to tell it to the world that okay, this is the truth. This is what I have seen. So that trustworthiness, without getting that experience, this is what Dr. Hahnemann is saying, that we have to be very truthful, we have to be very certain, because this is a very, very great work which is being done, getting this information of the medicines, proving of the medicines, what kind of power they have. Because when you are going to tell it to the world, you are basically responsible for that thing. So he is saying that if this kind of work is done, if we are paying someone to get it and then we are printing it, then the materia medica will become more doubtful. The people will not have faith on that kind of materia medica because it will not give results. Homeopathy was meant to give results, meant to cure the patient, the first aphorism from where it started. So if we are going with this kind of materia medica, then it is not going to give any kind of results. From such a materia medica, everything that is conjectural, he's saying that when we have to make a pure materia medica, so everything which is conjectural, everything which is imagination, nowadays the whole materia medica is all on imagination. That if he has this, then he will be this, then that, then that. He's saying that from such a materia medica, everything that is conjectural, all that is mere assertion or imaginary, should be strictly excluded. It should be strictly excluded. It should not be put in the materia medica. Everything should be the pure language of nature, carefully and honestly interrogated. So much responsibility, so much conscience is needed to do these things. Okay, conscience in seeing the patient, taking care of the patient, it's a very good part of being a physician. Giving a good remedy, giving our 100% is again a very good part of being a homeopath. But when you go into the other mode, of telling something to the fellow doctors, physicians, to the fellow homeopaths, it is very, very, very responsible task. It is a very, very, very careful task which one should do, because if something wrong is going to be told, it can become the knowledge, it can become a knowing part of that person, and he is going to believe that thing for a long, long time, until and unless he fails with that kind of information and switches to something. But that person will lose a lot of time in that thing. So that is why Dr. Hahnemann has again and again said that it should be very, very carefully, even in case taking, it should be carefully and honestly interrogated. Even while proving, it should be carefully and honestly interrogated. So that is why next episode of a truth, it is only by a very considerable store of medicines accurately known in respect of these their pure modes of action in altering the health of man. He is saying that right now when he is writing the Organon, the fifth edition, he's saying that this is also truth, that we have a considerable store of medicines whose action we have very accurately, we know the pure mode of action of these medicines, that can be placed in a position to discover a homeopathic remedy, and we can use that information to pick a suitable homeopathic remedy, a suitable artificial curative morphic analog for each of the infinitely numerous morbid states in the world. For every malady in the world, for every malady, for every disease in the world, we can find the similar morbid states in the power of these medicines. He has not said about some melodies, about 50%, about 90%, for every melody. And when he was saying it, because we have now we are on the 145th aphorism. So all through the organ and all through these 144 aphorisms, we have seen how much careful, how much diligent, how much zealous, and how much that The language, the words he has put into the organon, the way he has said, how that shows a perfect picture of conscience. So in 145th aphorism, he will not use a word to which he does not believe in, which he does not know about. So he has used a word every, not half, not 90%, not every melody. He said there are numerous morbid states, infinite. Infinite means even we cannot count them. How many morbid states are there? But in these medicines, we still have cure for every malady in the world. In the meantime, even now, thanks to the truthful character of the symptoms and to the abundance of disease elements which every one of the powerful medicinal substances has already shown in its action on the healthy body, but few diseases remain for which a tolerably suitable homeopathic remedy may not be met with among those now proved as to their pure action, which without much disturbance restores health in a gentle, sure, and permanent manner. He's saying because till now the medicines proven are not much, so there are few diseases or few symptoms whose match we are not able to find, but I am thankful that still this much which we have found, with that we can decrease those few diseases also, those few symptoms to the most this as much health or the less disturbance we can produce in the patient infinitely more surely and safely that can be affected by all the general and special therapeutics of the old allopathic medical art. Now he's basically differentiating it with the allopathy, allopathic art, allopathic medicine, that still we don't know about much medicines. We know about many medicines, but we have some things. At that time, we are talking about the time of Dr. Hahnemann when he had proved with few remedies. Now we have all the resources in the world. But at that time, even with that, he said there are only few diseases are like this, or only few symptoms are like this, which have a even that have we have a tolerably suitable homeopathic remedy, because he was a perfectionist. So he wanted a completely suitable, not tolerably suitable, not moderately suitable, but perfectly. So he said that okay, moderately suitable homeopathic remedies we have even now. But he's saying that even although we don't have those, but still whatever we have, it can cure or restore the health in a more gentle and sure way than the other medicines or the other art, medical art, which is being used at his time with its unknown composite remedies. The remedies which are unknown, what do? They don't know about the action of it, which do but alter and aggravate but cannot cure chronic diseases. So those medicines they can alter and aggravate, but they cannot cure chronic diseases, and rather retard than promote recovery from acute disease. And acute diseases, when these kind of medicines are given, when these medicines are given, they basically slow down the recovery rather than increasing the speed of the recovery. So there's a footnote to aphorism 145. At first, I was the only person who made the proving of the pure powers of medicines the most important of his occupations. So saying that at the first, I was doing it all alone. That it was a very important part of my occupation. It was very important part of my uh, whatever I was doing was to prove these pure powers, to find out these pure powers of the medicines. Since then, I have been in this by some young men who instituted experiments on themselves and whose observations I have critically revised. He's saying, but then I got some new people, some young men who have helped me in carrying out experiments on themselves. But I have critically reviewed it. I have seen every step of it. And wherever I felt that, okay, now it is right, then I have included those observations. But what shall we not be able to effect in the way of curing in the whole extent of the infinitely large domain of disease, when numbers of accurate and trustworthy observers shall have rendered their services in enriching this, the only materia medica, by careful experiments on themselves. So he's saying that right now, earlier only I was doing. Now I have some few people, But what will we achieve? What can we achieve if there can be more number of trustworthy observers? They come and they give their services to bring out the new to prove the new remedies, to bring out the symptoms, those few symptoms which we have not known yet, which we cannot find. Then then this materia medica, it will be an excellent materia medica, the only true materia medica which is made by careful experiments on themselves. And for that we thank Dr. Herring, we thank Dr. T.F. Allen and the other people who have helped with the provings. They have done an extensive work on the provings after Dr. Hahnemann and his students. They have done an exponentially great work. That is why we call them the pillars of homeopathy. The healing art will then come near to the mathematical sciences in certainty. If this true materia medica could be formed, then this healing art, it will come near to the mathematical sciences in certainty. Mathematical sciences are very certain. If this is done, formula is applied, this will be the answer. So if we have these symptoms and we have a pure materia medica, we have understood that pure materia medica, we have the knowledge of that pure materia medica, then we can cure every disease in the world as he has mentioned. So that is the dream. That is a dream, that a disease free world can be created. That was a dream of the master, of our master, of Dr. Hahnemann. That with those provings, with the understanding of homeopathy, when they are combined, the doctors, the physicians, the homeopathists, the homeopaths, they will come to this thing that we can form a disease free world. So aphorism 146, the third point of the business. Now the provings, the aphorisms of provings are completed. Now the third part will start from here. The third point of the business, the first was case taking, the second point was the provings, how to know about the power, how to know about the materia medica, the knowledge of materia medica. Now this is the third point. The third point of the business of a true physician relates to the judicious, sorry, there has to be to the judicious employment of the artificial morphic agents. How to apply these medicines that have been proved on healthy individuals to ascertain their pure action in order to effect the homeopathic cure of natural diseases. So the third point is how to use these medicines whose action we know now to cure the natural diseases. So whichever of these medicines that have been investigated as to their power of altering man's health, we find to contain in the symptoms observed from its use the greatest similarity to the totality of the symptoms of a given natural disease. So how there's a basic idea. What we have to do is that whatever the knowledge of medicine we have a very big area of symptom of some medicine. For example, sulfur, we have a very big area of symptoms. So from that area of symptoms and from taking the case, we have to see out of all the remedies we have, which is most similar, which covers most of the totality of the symptoms of the disease. So this is the basic thing, like we have talked about the similia similibus currenter, that we have to take the totality of symptom and the medicine which we have to give should cover the most of it. Some part might be left, some part might not be covered, but the most of the part should be covered. So this medicine will and must be the most suitable, the most certain homeopathic remedy for the disease. In it is found the specific remedy of this case of disease. This individual case of disease, we find a homeopathic specific remedy for that thing. So whenever Dr. Hahnemann is saying disease, the given natural disease, specific remedy for the disease, many physicians, many homeopathic businessmen also, because being a homeopathic physician requires that kind of mindset. But then there is a homeopathic business also. So they took these words and they tried to introduce a theory that every disease has a specific remedy, because Dr. Hahnemann has said in Organon again and again and again that a specific remedy of the disease, like here also, he's using those words, but they did not talked about this thing. They did not talked or give a, because the thing, this aphorism, if you take out of context, then you can very surely say that okay, there is a disease and there is a specific remedy. So a disease specific medicines can be given. Brita can be given for tonsils, belladonna can be given for the headaches, asafoetida can be given for the gastric disturbances, because here Dr. Hahnemann says that okay, specific remedy for the case of disease is there is a this thing. But what they fail to mention is that when he calls disease, he talks about sura. He's not talking about anything else. The disease means sura. Disease means a miasm. Whenever he's talking about the chronic or diseases, it means miasm. He's not talking about diabetes. He's not talking about tonsillitis. He's not talking about some headache or migraine. He's talking about the sura. The sura which has developed in this particular person, in this particular individual, the remedy should be specific or more suitable to this disease which has developed in this patient as a whole. Because organon means that we are going we are just going up the stairs. We are, with every aphorism, we are going up, up, up. But there is a connection to all that is behind. There's a connection to all that is ahead. This stair is not the only stair. This part is not the only part. So when we go through the organon, we have to be understand this thing that, like I told you, that there is no organon aphorism which is contrary to the rest of the organon. It is all part of it. It has to be understood in that way. Then only we can see what is the truth behind the homeopathic principles. A medicine selected in this manner, which has the power and the tendency to produce symptoms the most similar possible to the disease to be cured, consequently, a similar artificial disease given in a suitable dose affects in its dynamic action on the morbidly deranged vital force of the individual those very parts and points in the organism now suffering from the natural disease, and produces in them its own artificial disease. So the same thing which we have done, he is just trying to explain it again in a more detailed way, that when a homeopathic medicine is given on this symptom similarity, so what it does is it replaces the original disease because of the similarity of the symptoms, as we have understood in that natural law of this therapeutic nature's law, that the more stronger force will basically replace the weaker force when it is similar to it. So it will replace the older one, take its action, and by the account of its this that the dose is minimum, the dose is the weak, the action of the dose will stop, will keep going down, and the vital force will overpower it. So that whole process he is just trying to explain once again, because the next part will start from this thing. So produces in them its own artificial disease, which on account of its great similarity, because it is similar and preponderating strength, more stronger than the natural disease, occupies precisely the seat hitherto occupied by the natural morbid derangement. So because of the similarity of the symptom, so wherever the symptom was, this new artificial disease will take all the points, all the places wherever the disease was, and then the body is basically, or the vital force is basically affected by the artificial disease, and the natural disease is basically thrown out of the this thing, so that the instinctive automatic vital force is from that time forward no longer affected by the natural disease. So the vital force is now not any longer affected by the natural disease, but solely by the stronger similar medicinal disease, which in its turn, on account of the small dose of the remedy, because we have given a small dose, so because of that, like every moderate medicinal disease, overcome by the increased energy of the vital force, because there is a small dose, so its action will wear down, its action will become low with the passage of time, and the vital force, now the energy is increased, now it does not have to fight with the natural disease all the time, so it will overpower the whole system and will overcome the medicinal disease. Soon spontaneously disappears, leaving the body free from all disease, that is to say, healthy and permanently cured. So the natural disease is replaced by the artificial disease is replaced by the vital force, and in this way, the the body becomes disease free and it becomes healthy and permanently cured. So I think we will stop at aphorism 148, because 149 is a little bit longer with the footnote, and it has to be uh, it needs to be studied, or it needs to be understood with a passion, with a emotion which Dr. Hahnemann was passing through when he came to know about this, when he saw these things happening even during his time. So I was studying today. Many times Dr. Hahnemann, he seems very harsh, especially when he is talking about some things, the practices or the medical tradition which was going at that time in his time. So he was very harsh. So there is this saying of Lao Tzu that the true words are not pleasant, and the pleasant words are not true. So we will see in the aphorism 149 that okay, there is harshness, but that is the truth. That is truth. When you need to tell the truth, uh, you cannot tell in a pleasant way. There is no way. And moreover, that harshness, it does not come from any kind of, if you look very deeply, if you understand it in a deep way, you will say that this harshness is not coming out of some kind of ego, or out of some kind of, that okay, I have done a very wonderful thing, this is the only thing. Many places he says that okay, this is the only truth. So but that thing is not coming out of some kind of haughtiness or this, it is coming out of compassion. It is coming out of the pain which he is feeling for the patients, for the, that is why he is saying everywhere, he's saying that this is all for the suffering humanity. He himself has suffered a lot because he was speaking the truth of the time. His family has suffered, he has suffered, but still that the pain which he felt, that compassion which he had. So he was just asking a question, that being the physicians, why we are losing that compassion in us, why we cannot see what we are doing. Even when he left his practice, he had a very good practice. When he left it because of the compassion. I don't have any tools, any kind of thing with which I can help, and whatever I'm doing, it is basically making my patients more sick. So it is better if they become sick with a natural disease at a natural pace, rather than I giving them something and they become sick at a more rapid pace. So all this harshness, all this courage which he had to say these things in front of the whole medical fraternity was because of this compassion which he had, strong compassion. So with that, we will stop today at this point, and next time we'll start with aphorism 149. So when we are talking about organon, sometimes the other things also come along with some kind of remembrance of something I have already talked about. So, or I have experienced something in clinics or with some talks with the people. But the main thing is that this organon, like when we started, and I keep on saying again and again this thing, because I think it is important. I think all the time that it is important that we need to understand the emotions behind this organ. We need to understand the emotions of our teacher, of Dr. Hahnemann, behind writing this organon. Because when something like this is written, it cannot be understood by superficial readings or superficial translations. We have to go deep, that why he was doing this thing. Superficially he may seem harsh. Superficially, the people, many there were some doctors in the past whom I know, some of my teachers in the college also, which used to say that, he was a, like when they will, okay, tell us the remedy of Dr. Hahnemann, so they will say some remedies which are, we know that they are hot. So they had this idea that he was a haughty person, he was a harsh person, he was a person. But a defined person, when we say defines comes out of one's own need, that I want this, I am obstinate about this. His all things were coming out of that sympathy which he was holding, that humanly compassion which he was holding, that pain, that we, after so many years of the trouble, we have found something with which we can help. Let's get together and help people. That was his emotion behind it. That was his emotion when he was telling his discovery to the world, that we have found something. So with that, I will take your leave, and have a very good night, have a very good day, and we'll meet again next week on the Wednesday. Thank you so much.